All right, another candidate on the trail today, I think, speaking in full voice, is former Congressman Will Hurd. He will speak with voters at the Iowa State Fair, and Congressman Hurd joins us now. Nice to see you, Congressman. I saw you celebrating yesterday that you had reached the 40,000 donor threshold, which you need to cross to get in next week's first Republican presidential debate. You are not yet, I believe, at the polling threshold. The latest Fox News national poll has you not even at 1%, which is frankly no change since June. So how do you get to 1% in 3 polls by next week?
Sure. Well, John, thanks for having me on, and I won't whisper. Here's the reality. We were excited about hitting the 40,000 campaign donor threshold. I just want to thank everybody that believes in us. We still got to keep going, so still keep going to hurdforamerica.com. We've had 2 national polls where we've hit the polling requirements, and 1 state poll. We have just 1 more poll, whether it's in another early state or a national poll to go. So I feel good about that, about being able to be ready to be on that debate stage, which we're planning on happening. I feel confident we're going to be in Milwaukee on Wednesday.
So if you don't get there, I know you're planning on it, I know you're hoping for it, but your competitor, Francis, go ahead. Yeah.
I'm not going to, my goal is to be on that debate stage. We're confident that we're doing that, and that's what we're planning to do.
Well, Francis Suarez, the mayor of Miami, he says, I think any candidate that doesn't make the first debate should think long and hard about it because time is valuable and you shouldn't be taking time or trying to take away time from people who are fighting to get their message out there. He's running against you. He says if he doesn't get to that debate, it indicates he likely will drop out.
Sure, and I think, folks like the governor of New Hampshire, Chris Sununu, has also talked about how if there's no pathway to victory towards winter, then people need to start thinking about consolidating. And I think that's pretty sound logic as well. But for me right now, we're going to focus on debate prep and getting ready and getting ready to speak the truth to power. I'm not going to be like Ron DeSantis and defend Donald Trump, which is absolutely crazy. But I'm also going to be articulating a vision of the future.
Well, let's talk about that, Governor DeSantis, because this leaked memo from his super PAC appeared in the New York Times that appeared to giving instructions to Ron DeSantis about just what you were talking about, perhaps defending Donald Trump. I'll read from the New York Times. The debate prep memo urges DeSantis to defend Trump when Chris Christie attacks him, with a specific suggestion for an attack line accusing Mr. Christie of appealing mainly to Democrats. Trump isn't here, so let's just leave him alone. He's too weak to defend himself here. We're all running against him. I don't think we want to join forces with someone on the stage who's auditioning for a show on MSNBC. What do you think of defending Trump as a strategy next week?
Well, first off, this wasn't a leaked memo. This was a memo that was posted to a website. And so this was a level of coordination because the Ron DeSantis campaign is circling the drain. The fact that they're having to cut so much staff, they don't have the resources to do their own debate prep, but the strategy itself is flawed. If you're afraid to take on Donald Trump, then you shouldn't be on that stage and you shouldn't be running for president. The other thing that was missing in that campaign memo was how do you articulate what your vision for the future is? It was just about attacking other people versus laying out a plan for America. So when I'm on that debate stage, I'm going to first answer the questions that's asked. You have 2 great reporters and journalists are going to be asking those questions, explain why that particular topic is important to the American public, and then outline my vision of that future. America wants someone who's not afraid of Donald Trump, but articulating a vision for the future. That's what that campaign memo should have said.
In about an hour and 20 minutes, President Biden will be meeting at Camp David with the Prime Minister of Japan and the President of South Korea. It's a fairly historic trilateral meeting there. How important, I should say, is that alliance to battling the global influence of China?
The greatest existential threat the United States of America is facing is the Chinese Communist Party, and the Chinese government is trying to surpass the United States of America as the sole global superpower. The only way we're going to be able to defend against this is to have allies and to be working together. Japan and South Korea are super important in that. I would have invited Australia to come to this event because they're a critical partner in our operations in East Asia. Improving the cooperation between the Japanese and the South Koreans is super important as well. And that alliance is not only important to countering in the Chinese government, but also the threat of North Korea is always there. And the likelihood that the North Koreans could end up killing hundreds of thousands of South Koreans and Americans within minutes is a threat that we always have to be prepared for. But we need to make sure that we're ready for this new Cold War.
I got to let you run, but all this talk about strengthening economic alliances in the Pacific and defense alliances, do you ever regret the fact that TPP, the Trans-Pacific Trade Pact, was blown up? Because that in and of itself was something that would have strengthened Pacific alliances vis-a-vis China.
You're absolutely right. And what's even crazier is not only was it blown up, but because the Trump administration pulled out of it, you had the Chinese get into it, which is absolutely insane. And we'd be in a much stronger position if we had a trade alliance with our allies in East Asia.
Will Hurd, Congressman, thank you very much for being with us. Best of luck.
Thank you.